Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, I want to pop in and share this based on the conversation that the individual were having. And this me speaking from the outside looking in, looking at just relationships in general from a coach's perspective, dealing with singles and couples on how to date correctly. And how do you define dating? And this is the thing, what a lot of people don't realize is we have to be careful with semantics, with the words. And I seen a pastor say that, dating isn't in the Bible and that dating is creating like a breakup culture. And that's because dating is being defined the wrong way. Dating should literally be going on a date. That's why it's called a date. When you take somebody to the movies or out to eat, you call it a date. You don't say, hey, I'm going on a relationship tonight. You don't say, hey, I'm getting in a relationship tonight. You say, hey, I have a date. So that's what dating is. Dating is when you are going out with somebody, you're hanging out with somebody in person, and you're talking, you're getting to know them. So if you are dating intentionally, when you realize that there is no potential for this person you just went out to eat with or you went bowling with, then you let them know, hey, I'm dating intentionally right now and I don't feel that I'm the best fit for you. And I don't want to waste your time. So I'm wishing you the best. And you're a great person. God bless you. Keep going. You could say that over text message. And there's nothing wrong with that, saying it over text message, because then they could ignore it. They could read it 50 times. They could read it in their own voice. They could read it how they want to read it. If that's your personality, if you the type to say, nah, text ain't for me, it's no real right way. You could say it over the phone, but then the risk with anything, text or over the phone, is getting talked out of it. Them saying, oh no, I was off to a bad start. I was having a bad day. My grandfather just passed away. That's not really who I am. And it's really because their personality is they hate to lose. So now they showed you who they were, but now they finna show you a representative because you just told them who they were was not for you. So now they finna show you something else to get you hooked, to get you to stay. They get you, they win you. Now you go from dating to in a relationship, an exclusive committed relationship. And then they flip the script and they show you who you knew they were all along, but now you done slept with them. Now you living with them, or now you pregnant. Now you up the creek without a paddle. So dating has to be reduced to going on dates. You going on dates. And when you're going on dates, it's nothing wrong with going on multiple dates with multiple people. There's nothing wrong with that, because you're getting to know people. There's not one person. So if you go and you go on a date with one person and you say, oh, I don't like to date multiple people, so I'm gonna force this thing to work. Or you say, oh, I went on a date yesterday, so I'm disqualified for the next 3 months. I'm not gonna go on another date. You could go on a date today and then literally the date could suck, and then tomorrow you meet the person that you could spend the rest of your life with. But if you see going on a date as like a sin, or it looked bad, then, and you care about what people think, knowing that you're not doing nothing, then that's when you're losing. And that is an example of real life, how we lose and we hurt ourselves and we hinder ourselves by not doing what we want to do because we care too much about what people think, when those people's opinion doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end all be all. They don't have a heaven or a hell to put us in, but yet we will hold other people's opinion in such high regard when they really don't care about our well-being. So, and here's the thing, you could be creative. Now, if you live in a town of 500 people, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, everybody know everybody, and you going on dates and you going to the same place, then yeah, you're gonna send a message. But most people live in a city that there are 50 different restaurants, 500 different restaurants, a million things you can go, so you should not be seen by the same person or same people when you going on a date. And if you have that option, and here's the thing, is we believe everything we see. So even when we look at somebody like Lori Harvey, who we have seen her as a celebrity, and it's different than Kim Kardashian, because Kim Kardashian, I read that she said she wanted to be with Pete Davidson because of the rumor of his penis size, that she was just initially just gonna mess with him just to sleep with him for that. So if that's a true statement, which I don't know if it is or not, then that means she down for the get down. We never heard Lori Harvey say she date guys because she need to see what they working with in the bed before she married them. So we don't know if she slept with Trey Songz, if she slept with P. Diddy, if she slept with P. Diddy's son, if she slept with Michael B. Jordan, if she slept with, now the one guy, Memphis Dupay, the soccer player I think she was with, that I feel like could have been 3 years or some time. We could assume they slept together, but we don't know. We don't know if she on an abstinence journey. We don't know if that's the reason why these situations is falling apart, because she got her mama and Steve Harvey in her ear telling her, do not sleep with these men. Do not let nothing get recorded. Do not send no nude pictures. Like, you are not regular. You are not average. So us as humans, we could look at this young lady who is dating, who going on these dates with these men, and we can assume that they sleeping together, when really the guy hook could have been, hey, I got a music video coming out and I want you to be the lead. Can we link up and talk about it? And then paparazzi get a picture of them. But then all of a sudden we think they're sleeping together when we not in the bedroom. So this is what I've learned, not to judge. So if I see a man or a woman and they go on multiple dates, I'll come to the place to where instead of judging them and saying, oh, they sleeping with this person, I'm gonna say they could just be dating, going on a date. They could literally be on a job interview. They could literally be on a business meeting. They could literally be on a casting call. Like, it does not mean that you are sleeping with somebody because you go on 3 dates in 1 week. But because of the taboo society, people are not exploring their options, and people are meeting somebody and then trying to force a square in a round hole, and then ending up in a relationship broke, busted, and disgusted, toe up from the floor up, and looking like who shot John and forgot to kill him, and then confused as to why do I keep ending up in the same type of relationships over and over. It's because you afraid to explore your options and to have 28 first dates, 50 first dates to get to know these people. And in this day and age, that is imperative. If you have the ability to do that. Some people don't have the ability to do that because it's just not their season, it's not their time, for whatever reason. And so they may only get the opportunity to do 1 date a month, 1 date a quarter, 3 dates a year. It's like you do what you able to do, but you got to go out there, and when you date, when you go on a date or 2 dates or 3 dates with the same person, you still not in a relationship. So if you say, hey, this is not a good fit, I don't want to waste your time, that's not breaking up. That's not breaking up, because y'all were not in a relationship where you were having relations. So you're not breaking up. And so that is imperative. And we do not live in the Bible days. We do not live in the day of arranged marriages, or marriages based on convenience, or marriages based on land or whatever, and all of that. We live in a time to where you can marry who you want to marry, regardless of their race, regardless of their age, regardless of their culture. So, and in the Bible, they didn't have social media. They didn't have a pastor on every corner producing content for Instagram Reels. So they didn't have to filter through all of this noise. So we can't look at, oh, there wasn't dating in the Bible, and then apply that to today. You got to use wisdom. God tell us to make wisdom your best friend. Like, you got to use wisdom. The Bible is not a dating book. It's a book of salvation. It's not a dating book. It got dating reference. I mean, it got relationship references, but it's not a marriage book. It's not a book of marriage. It is a book of God, who he is, what he represents, and what he wants for his children. And relationships play a small part in it, but you can't take and just not use wisdom and discretion and allow God to speak to you today in your season for this day and age, because the messages change. People and people confuse that because we say, oh no, nothing in the Bible changed, nothing in the Bible. No, the messages change based on the context and the situation. That's why it changed from eye for an eye to, hey, forgive your neighbor 70 times 70. It changed. It went from, hey, you could have multiple women, to do not divorce unless it be for infidelity, unless it be for adultery. It changed. The times change. So when you see that in the word, you have to realize that when you tap in and you serving God in spirit and in truth, not just in letter and your 9th grade comprehension skills. See, we got 9th grade comprehension skills. Some of us got 12th grade. Some of us got master's degree level. But comprehension does not mean common sense. So just because you can read and comprehend don't mean you got spiritual discernment. So just because you know how to read the Bible don't mean you understand spiritually what that's saying to you in your life today. And that's why the Bible says serve God in spirit and in truth, because some people are illiterate. Some people literally cannot read. So you have to know God as a spirit. You got to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, discretion that you pray for. So we trying to take and we try to paint everything with a blanket and say, oh, because I don't see the word dating in the Bible, that means that I'm not supposed to date. That means I'm just supposed to meet somebody, look at them, and say, hey, I want you to be my wife. Come on, let's get married. No, that is ignorant. That would not be wise. Because if you don't take time to date, then you're going to fall into the trap that the book of Proverbs talk about. The woman who waiting in the wings with seductive ways, seductive words, and she pulling you in and she is devouring you. She killing you. That's the purpose of dating. So that you can see, is this woman a harlot? Is this man a harlot? Is this a Jezebel spirit? Is this a temptress or a tempter? That's the purpose of dating. So you need to date, but you got to date safely. You got to date wisely. And you do that by setting your parameters. You have to have rules and regulations, policies and procedures for your dating. So you set that based on your comfortability. So what I say in this day and age, you need to date, and you need to go on, when you meet somebody, you need to have a minimum of 10 2-hour plus dates. That's gonna give you enough time to see if this person playing a role. And if you still not sure, do another 5, do another 10, until you have seen this person in their highs and their lows. If you see this person in the same even keel personality only, it's too soon to be in a relationship. You need to see this person when they're stressed. You need to see this person when they're angry. You need to see this person when they have experienced some failure, like bad news. A friend or family member died, a gig fell through, a job, something happened. They got a breakout, their stomach hurting, they got a headache. Like, you need to see this person in different scenarios. And when you see this person in these different scenarios, now you get to see and realize, like, okay, how does this person handle discomfort? How does this person handle setbacks? How does this person handle bad news? How does this person handle when they don't get their way? Then after you've seen that, then you're able to say, okay, this is a human who is flawed, just like I'm flawed, but I can deal with their flaws. Nowhere near perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect, but I could deal with this. We could be in a relationship. And that's when the man asks, hey, will you be my girlfriend? Like, can we be exclusive? However he says it. And that's when you go into a relationship and you are now in a relationship with the intentionality of being married one day. And this is when you have your internal clock, your internal timeline, based on how you want a relationship to move, but you're operating from a place of peace. You're operating from a place of confidence. You're operating from a place of self-love. You're not operating from a place of desperation, frustration, anxiety, pain, hurt, and all of these things. You're operating from a place of peace, love, and happiness. And when you're doing that, now you are able to see clearly. So dating is important. It is important so that you can have a risk assessment. Because I'm going to tell you, with our influences today, if you're on social media, you too far from God. If you're on social media, you got to understand, think about this now. And a lot of people don't think about this. A lot of people, oh, well, God gonna tell me. God not talking to you like that. God is not talking to you like that. You're not her. You're not him. You're not on that level. If you on social media, you're not on the level to where you could just look at somebody and know that that's your husband or wife without dating this person. You're not on that level because you're too far from God. You got too many infiltrations. See, and let me tell you how. When a man of God needed to hear from God, did he get on YouTube? Did he get on? So we trying to take and believe that we got the level of discretion that they had in the Bible when they went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, if you go into the wilderness for 40 days or 40 nights, your wilderness, meaning no social media, no television, you actually taking all your vacation time and you are fasting and you are praying. Now your decision gonna be different. Now your decision gonna look different. Now we could talk about a level of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discretion without confusion. Now you got a level of clarity. But if you on here, if you on Instagram, if you on Facebook, if you watch TV, if you listen to secular music, your radar is a little off. You're gonna have to take your time. You're gonna have to date and be actively praying. And then before you get into a relationship, you're gonna have to go on you a 3-day fast and be praying and be silent and be listening to God to hear from God. That's what you're gonna have to do. That's what you're gonna have to do. Because we got too much noise today. We got too many speakers like myself and pastors and coaches and teachers who we all know it all and we all got an opinion for your life. So if you listening to anybody, your discretion gonna be a little off, because we speak from where we are. So now you got to take that with a grain of salt, and then you got to go and you got to sit and talk with the Lord, and you got to see what need to be chewed up and digested and what need to be spit out. You see what I mean? Because that's what I try to tell you. I'm not a person that call myself a guru. You'll never ever in your life see me call myself a relationship expert. I'll never put that in my bio. Never. Because I understand I'm flawed as a person, that my vision is skewed, that I could be jaded. So I share my insight, I share my opinion, but you got to sit down and sup with the Lord for yourself. You just can't go listening to this pastor, that pastor, this coach, like what we say is the absolute gospel. We not God. We not God. So if God tell you, hey, you don't need to date, I'm gonna show you your husband or your wife, and you gonna see it and know it and feel it in the first moment you see them. If that's what God tell you, that's what God told you. That's what God told you. Me personally, I have to see it to believe it. I have to see it to believe it. And then I see God in another light. God will speak to me, say, listen, son, hey, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. But see, a lot of us, we think we got that. We think we on that level with God out of conceit, out of pride. When we not taking into consideration, we ain't doing what Jesus did. We ain't doing what John the Baptist did. We ain't doing what Moses did. We ain't doing what people did who needed to hear from God. We ain't doing that. We ain't going to the mountaintop. We ain't going to the wilderness. We going to social media. We going to social media and listening to porn addicted pastors. We going to social media and listening to single relationship coaches. We going to social media and listen to people who was turned out at the age of 11 or 12 giving promiscuous advice. We go on to social media and we listen to people with all kind of skeletons, and we don't know what somebody got in their closet. We don't know what somebody working with. We don't know what somebody's suffering from behind the scenes, but yet speaking so eloquently online. You don't know what I'm dealing with behind the scenes. You don't know what I'm dealing with. Now, I could tell you, hey, I don't watch pornography, and that's the God's heaven truth. I could tell you I'm faithful to my wife, and now that's the God's heaven truth, but you don't know that. You don't know that. You got to be able to have discernment from God to be able to tell who's speaking into your life from a place that is centered with the Lord and have your best interests at heart, and trying to help you and not convert you to their way of thinking, because their life is perverted behind closed doors and they don't want to be alone in their perversion, so they trying to pervert you. And then some people, we get caught up in conceit and in pride, to where we will say something that is contradicting, or we will say something intentionally to contradict or to upend something that is commonplace, and we say this thing that is so earth-shattering and so shocking, and we say it out of conceit or pride to sound deep, to sound special. And I see people come and say ignoramus stuff just trying to sound deep, just trying to sound different, when it ain't rooted in common sense or wisdom at all. And then not realizing that even if it makes sense to them, if they on steak and somebody else on milk, now they finna have people choking to death, because we feeding T-bone ribeye steak to somebody who on Similac. Come on now, you coming out a little too fast, a little too far now. Come on now. We feeding ribeye to a baby. Now you cut your slice of ribeye that you could eat, that you could digest. You cut that same slice of ribeye and you feed that to your baby that's supposed to be on milk. What's gonna happen to that baby? You bite your size of hot dog. You take that same size of hot dog that you could bite and chew and digest, nasty as it is, hot dog. We know hot dogs ain't made right now. And you get that to a baby, and what they tell you, one of the leading causes of choking in a baby is a hot dog. And that's what we have speakers and teachers doing online. Instead of meeting people where they are, just like with the show, with the Singles House, I'm gonna meet these people where they are. Okay, you think like this, you think like that. All right, you human. I've been married 15 years. I can't judge you. I can't call you no red flag. I can't call you ignorant. I can't, just because we see things differently. But let me share my experience with you. You share your experience with me. Your experience going to enlighten me and help me understand why you think the way you think. My experience going to enlighten you and help you understand why I think the way I think. And then we choose what's the best formula for our individual life. And that's how we go about this thing in dating and relationships. And that's what we're not doing. So, hey, God bless y'all. I'm here to pick up my son from his soccer workout. I don't think they out yet. He probably be texting me in a little bit. And but see, I want to use my time like this. And this is what I want to tell people too. This is balance. A lot of times people say, do work-life balance exist? Yes, it exists, because you define it. Can't nobody else define your balance. So yeah, I'm not sitting at the house shooting a video at my desk, but this still balance, because I'm able to shoot a video while I'm driving. So I'm able to, now I'm gonna get off the video and I'm gonna be with my son. So now, and before I got in the car, I come out of the gym working out. That's balance. So now I done worked in my business this morning, publishing videos, publishing reels, doing all this, commenting, responding, doing all this, posting all this. Went from doing that to the gym to work out. Went from doing that to coming to pick up my son. But while I'm coming to pick up my son, I'm shooting a video. That is balance. You have balance in your life. You just define it. Everything might not fit in perfect little squares. One thing might be shaped like this, another thing shaped like this, another thing shaped like this, but that's your balance. So I said it to say, stop letting people tell you that balance don't exist. And you give balance your definition. And for those of y'all out there with a voice and platform, stop telling people balance don't exist, because you're sending people into a state of depression. You're sending people into a state of worry. Tell them you define your schedule, your life, and your balance. You define your greatness. You define your success. You define your relationship. You define these things. Take ownership of your life and stop letting people tell you what your life is and ain't. Understand that now. Understand that. So, hey, this Tony Gaston. God bless you. We'll talk soon.